Your husband is a veteran. His story is very moving. Your advocacy of his recovery after a devastating injury while fighting for our country is inspirational. And so let's just start broad-based for people who don't know you and haven't been paying much attention to Washington State. What makes you think you can take down someone like Patty Murray, who is, I don't know how many times she's been reelected by the Democrats. She's 72. She's like about to take sort of senior status on all these important committees. If she gets reelected, that can make citizens say, well, yeah, we want her. We want the power for Washington State. What makes you think you can do it?
Yeah, well, if power really mattered and seniority really mattered, then why did she not stand up for us and fight for us? You know, why was my husband given a VA system that wasn't ready or prepared to give him every tool that he needed to be successful? You know, I saw firsthand the roadblocks that government will put up in front of our heroes and their families, the red tape and the bureaucratic government systems. So Senator Murray is a part of that system. I was 11 years old when she was first elected, and we are not in a better place. In every room I go into, I ask them, you know, are you in a better place? They say, no, we are worse off. If seniority mattered, then we would be in a much better place. And it's clear in every room I go into across Washington State, we are packing out rooms. Hundreds of people are coming out to hear our message. Washington State does not need seniority. What we need is motivation and principle. And the voters of Washington State know that that is exactly what I will bring to the halls of Congress when they send me there. People want real results. Policy cannot be based on intentions. It has to be based on positive impact in people's lives. It has to be based on results. We're connecting on common ground with voters all across Washington State. Patty Murray's been non-existent, Megyn. Like, she's not around. She's been phoning it in, thinking she just had a hall pass, you know, to go to D.C. And truly, all she does is rubber stamp vote, go along to get along. That's who she is.
Let me try. So to what extent, I mean, Washington State, Seattle in particular, has been facing a crime wave like much of the rest of the nation. So, and I realize you've been running like most Republicans on a tough on crime platform, unlike Senator Murray. But what can a senator do to help crime in Washington State? I can understand if you ran for governor, if you ran for mayor of Seattle. What can a senator do?
Yeah, well, a senator can do a lot. Number one is lead. And, you know, Senator Murray's dangerous rhetoric is not helpful to our police officers here in Washington State. She actually went on the Senate floor June of 2020 and called for funds to be diverted away from our police force. And then she disappeared and went into hiding as crime ravaged our cities all across Washington State. So what I can do at the federal level is I will ensure that our police officers in Washington State have access to federal grants for $5,000 retention and recruiting bonuses. So we retain and recruit good cops here in Washington State. Another component that's important to address in this, Megyn, as well, is our southern border. Because when we talk about crime, we need to talk about drugs, because that's the impetus to a lot of the crime that's going on, especially in Washington State. We have a fentanyl crisis across the state. So we need to secure our border, ensure that our Border Patrol agents and law enforcement agencies down at the border have every resource that they need, invest in technology, and secure our border, stop the flow of fentanyl from coming into Washington State and killing our kids.
Seattle has persistently high crime. It's dark. It's not, the numbers are not good. 4,379 cases of violent crime so far this year, slowly encroaching on last year's total of 5,407, 42 homicides in 2022. In all of 2021, there were 42. So you guys are on track to surpass the homicide record. And then there was a notable murder causing headlines as of August 2nd. And I wonder whether this has played a significant role at all in your messaging. A disabled 66-year-old being beaten to death with a metal pole in Seattle shown on footage. And this was allegedly by a serial criminal who'd been freed by a local judge on a separate felony charge just 8 days earlier. This is caught a lot of attention. Those of us over here on the East Coast and in the media, I mean, I think we think of Seattle as just far left, you know, let's go softer on criminals kind of people. But this case is turning a lot of heads.
Yes, you're exactly right, Megyn. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was at an event in Seattle with Democrats and independents. And they said their number one issue is their safety. They do not feel safe. And that's exactly why they're voting for me. Many are saying you're the first Republican that I've ever voted for. Homicide rates were so high just a few months ago that our hospitals were in a crisis of blood shortage. And so our campaign actually hosted a 2-day blood drive to help bolster that supply of life-saving, blood supplements. So there is a crisis here. Senator Murray doesn't talk about it. In fact, I filmed an ad on crime, and I was standing in a parking lot where there were actual murders. I had to have security with me when I was filming this ad. Senator Murray came back and mocked me. Basically said, there's no crime here. I'm getting a cup of coffee. Everything's fine in our communities. And this is when everything started to backfire really in her campaign, because she fails to address this issue. She fails to be a leader and stand with our law enforcement and truly protect the people of Washington state. Per capita, we have the least amount of police officers per 1,000 people. We're in a very, very dangerous place. I'm talking to people all over Washington state, women just going to lunch at noon and getting violently assaulted, and not enough police officers to even respond or even track down or, investigate the case. So there's real issues on the ground. I always say these are not Democrat or Republican issues. These are American issues. This is about the livelihood and safety of our communities. The bedrock of truly who we are as a country is law and order.
Yeah, no, the crime rate is driving Democrats all across the country to go to the polls tomorrow for Republicans, according to the polls, including in New York State, the state from which I hail. In that one case I just mentioned with this disabled 66-year-old, the man who did it, who is accused, was arrested, as I said, 8 days later released by a judge without bail, on a separate charge of felony harassment after he allegedly threatened to kill a local city worker. And in a case that we've kind of seen in different forms time after time, the Superior Court judge released him on his own recognizance and asked him not to commit any more crime. This is via the Daily Mail on the Seattle Police Crime Dashboard. Unbelievable. Asked him not to commit any more crime and ignored the prosecutor's request for $10,000 in bail. The guy did not honor his commitment not to commit any more crime, and now a 66-year-old disabled person was beaten to death. I wonder what this is going to do, because for me, as I understand it from over here, it all comes down to Seattle for you. You need to get a certain percentage. It's sort of like New York City, here, like without a certain percentage of the New York City liberal votes, Lee Zeldin's not going to beat Kathy Hochul. Without a certain percentage of the Seattle votes, you can't beat Patty Murray no matter how well you do in the suburbs and the other areas of Washington state. And this happened in Seattle, I guess. But you haven't been doing a lot of campaigning in Seattle. And according to the Seattle Times, they say that's going to be, quote, a huge mistake. So do you feel like you should have done more to get Seattle's votes?
Well, I don't know what they're talking about, because I have been in Seattle quite often. I just mentioned the 2-day blood drive that our campaign hosted to bolster the blood supply for a local hospital in downtown Seattle. I've actually been in a lot of the homeless encampments in Seattle. I visited the Soto homeless encampment in the heart of Seattle. One of the largest, and was helping clean up dirty needles. I was talking with the folks there. And what's interesting is I was meeting with a group that's non-political group. They're just taking action to help clean up the streets. And when I was there in that homeless encampment, there was another woman there helping clean up and do harm reduction. And she yelled my name from across the encampment and came over. And she said, "Tiffany Smiley." And I said, "Yes, I don't know what attack ads you're watching, but I'm really a nice person." She said, no, I'm so happy to be here with you. She said, "I have always voted Democrat. I've always voted for Patty Murray. And this year I'm voting for you. And I'm honored." It was a real special moment, because here we are in the heart of Seattle, in the face of destruction, where we're allowing people to poison themselves to death. And here was a Democrat and Republican shaking hands, coming together, believing in something better for our city and for our state. That's exactly why we are going to win this race, Megyn. There is no place that I will not go to talk to the voters of Washington state. And I have been doing that for 18 months.
Carmen in Cedar Rapids, Iowa says, "I have struggled to find a product that does not irritate my skin. This is the only one that I have been able to use without problems. Not only do I love it, but my skin feels like velvet. I love, love, love it. From now through Thanksgiving, you can treat yourself to JennyCell's most popular package, all their best stuff for 70% off at jennycell.com/MK. jennycell.com right now. It's the only skincare product you will ever need. Right now, every one of their most popular packages, they include JennyCell's hyaluronic acid correcting serum free. You get it free in any one of those most popular packages with the 70% off, right? So it's a good deal. JennyCell products delight men and women with inspiring results by correcting your daily skin problems like wrinkles, dark spots, dry skin, sagging jawline, facial redness, even those annoying bags and puffiness. And with JennyCell's immediate effects product, JennyCell guarantees results in as little as 12 hours or your money back. Order at jennycell.com/MK60. Your most popular package includes a holiday gift set plus free holiday express shipping, I should say. So you get the free shipping, you get the gift set, you get the hyaluronic acid for free, and you get 70% off. Why wouldn't you call right now? Or just go to the website, GENUCEL.com/MK60, jennycell.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.